welcome back to the next part of the bobber video. I have some terrible news. I lost my phone and all the footage for all the stuff that I've done to this bike up to this point, because obviously it looks a lot different than in the first video, and I've done a lot of things to it. So in this video we're just going to go over all the things that I've done to this that I lost on my old phone, get everybody up to date, and hopefully I can help some people out that are doing the same kind of things to their bikes. Most of this is universal and a lot of it was cosmetic stuff, so I'm going to jump straight into it. Okay. Alright, so we're going to start on the front of the bike here, and I'm going to just work my way down the bike and go over everything that I've done so far, get you guys up to date. Starting off with the headlight here, I bought this headlight for maybe 15 bucks or something like that, and I bought the headlight and the housing separately. It ended up working out perfect, but the main issue I have here for the OEM headlight was a lot bigger, and the housing had room to put all the wires inside of it, and this headlight housing is a lot smaller, so I can't do that. Originally I thought I would put a tube right down in here and make a little contraption to hold all the wires, and that didn't work out as I planned. I think now once I get everything wired up and it is ready to go, I'll end up just wrapping everything up in electrical tape, making it look nice and neat. Just be one black solid wire going down. But that's for a later date when I have everything worked out, electrical wise, because I've been waiting on a flasher from China for about two and a half months, and because of the COVID stuff going on, it's just been a real hassle getting parts for this bike right now. Next we have the blinkers right here. I bought these blinkers for maybe $10 for 4 of them, and I thought they were really cool looking, really cheap, perfect for what I needed. But the main problem with these is, and anybody else that has a bike that has running lights on it, don't buy blinkers that don't have running lights in the description, because these don't work the way that I thought they would. I might be able to figure out a way around it in the future, but I'll probably end up just buying new blinkers. So just a future tip for anybody else out there. Alright, so the next part is the wrap, the exhaust wrap that we put on here. This stuff was like maybe 10 bucks off of eBay or something. It wasn't very expensive. Just the only tip I have for you guys on this stuff is wear gloves when you're putting this shit on, because it's horrible and you'll get fiberglass all in your hands, and it's just a terrible, terrible nightmare. You don't want to deal with that. So put gloves on before you do your exhaust wrap. And get 2 people too, because it's really hard to hold the exhaust and wrap it at the same time and get a clean wrap. Down here on the back, if you look inside of the pipe, it's kind of hard to see. I'm not sure if they'll catch it on video, but I set a little washer inside of here, and I made my own baffle for when we cut off the thing, because I had a problem with the back pressure. Once I cut this off, the bike wasn't running the exact same, and it was a lot of trouble. So I figured that was relating to the back pressure, and I added a little tiny baffle in here. It was really simple. Just take a screw, drilled a hole through the bottom, and then I had a washer welded onto the screw so I can fish that in there, and then I have a little lock nut down here. I can adjust that if I need to. If I want, I can turn that sideways and I'll be straight piped again, or if I need to lower the sound a little bit, dampen it, I'll turn it back to the horizontal degree and it'll be fine. What's next? For this middle section of the bike, I put on the new seat, and this was a pain in the ass. I had to pretty much fabricate everything for this. I bought it as a kit and it said it would work on everything, but most of this was my own design. So in the end, this is the only piece I used from the kit that I bought. I mounted it on to where I had the old seat mounted. For this part, they gave me this plate over here. So they gave me this plate and it fit in right about there, just a lot further down. This didn't work at all for my bike, so I had to cut that in half, use the bracket that they gave me, and then I made my own bracket here. I just drilled some holes through the side, made a bracket, fabricated and painted it and all that good stuff. And then I ended up attaching the computer board and all that stuff, and the flasher and fuse box, all that stuff that was mounted to the fender that you guys saw in the last video. Instead of welding, I just ended up bolting all this in here, and it worked just the same. And then I made this little bracket here up on the top for the seat, one bracket to hold the light for my my tail light, and then I made another bracket to hold the bolts in here. This is really simple. It already came with bolts in the seat, so all this I just fabricated to make it work. When you lay it down, it fits perfectly in here. You just kind of pull these back a little bit, slide it in, and you're good to go. And that's your suspension. Since I didn't get to use this piece, this covers up all the electronics. I'm gonna have to make something in the future, and I will show that to you guys. But I'll make something to cover this little area here, and I'll paint it black too, so it matches the rest of the bike. And if you look down in here, you can see I have the I took out the old air box that was in this area in the last video, and I put in originally I put in a K&N air filter. This thing was maybe 20 bucks online, but it was way too big, and I didn't read the dimensions online, so that was my fault. But I ended up getting this one for another, I think it was 15 or 20 bucks online. Really easy. The only thing I have to say about putting an air filter or an aftermarket air filter on this bike is the air box is set lower than the carburetor on this bike, so you can't just take off the air box and stick on the little pod filter and good to go. For this one, I had to make a extension tube that went down and out of the way of this bar right here. So you might be able to see it if you come down here. If you can see this right here, this piece that I'm touching, this piece came with the original bike, and it went into the air box. What I did is I just pulled that out, and I ended up cutting off the end of it so that I can fit this piece onto it. And it didn't work perfectly, so I had to glue some stuff, and then I had to wrap it up with tape. But all in all, it ended up working really, really well. And now this gets it out of the way and around that bar, so I can have my pod filter on here. And it kind of looks cool. I like it. Not too shabby. One more side note about the air box. So the air box fit into the bike just like this, and it has this little tube on the bottom. This is I guess it also holds oil in here or something, maybe like an oil overfill if you pull a wheelie or something. Hose right here coming out of the engine, and this hose went into the air box as a reservoir, and then this went down below the bike so it could drain, and it had a plug in it. So all I did for this to go around it is I just took the plug out of this thing and I stuck it in that hose, and hopefully it won't cause me any problems. If you guys know anything about this, just let me know, because I'm a little lost. But I haven't had any problems with it so far. So the last thing to go over is this back piece here. Originally I thought I would make a couple attachments and stuff for this bike so I can switch it out if I need to, but I think I'm just gonna end up keeping this one here. I really like it. Originally I have two holes back here. I tapped out these two holes so I could fit this on there, and this was from the original bike. I wanted to sit that on there so I could put my tag, but that ended up covering up the light. So in my mind, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this light and move it to the back here, cover all this up, and this will be where my brake and blinkers are. But to make this, I ended up using angle iron and a couple of chain links. These are all chain links I use to strap stuff down if I ever put something on here. We just cut them in half with a bandsaw and welded them to it. And then for this, I used pallets. And it was old oak wood from a pallet. Cut that apart. In the end, it looked really, really good, and I think I'm gonna end up sticking with this look for the bike. Okay, so that concludes it for the video today. I just wanted to go over everything that I've done to the bike so far, and yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say. For the next video, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go over the electrical stuff that I have to do, because I still have to hook up. In the next video, we'll go over the electrical issue. I'm gonna end up testing all the wires and stuff, finding out which wires go to what, and wiring up the tail light and the blinkers in the back, and then I'll buy some new front blinkers and I'll put in those as well. and that'll be the next video for you guys. So just stay tuned, and I appreciate it.